Hello and welcome to the Black Belt Project. I am the virtual sensei at BlackBeltProject.com, where I teach you to master your life one belt at a time. In this episode, I'm going to show you my email setup. It's updated from a few years ago when I used to use a Yahoo setup, which I have a YouTube video that you can look at to kind of see how I used to do that. But now I use Google Apps. And so in this episode, I'm going to go over what it looks like, show you inside, and give you the labeling system that I use and how it's organized. So you can see what a black belt level email system looks like and what you need to try and do. So let's get into it. Okay, what you're looking at on the screen here is we're in my email, so you can see what's going on in here. And I thought I'd just do a quick video to kind of show you what a black belt level email system looks like when it's to zero and the labels that I use, so that you can kind of get a better picture in your head of exactly how this process works on the email side of things. So here you can see that first of all, this is my inbox here, and there's no new mail because I've processed everything. And so as things come in, I don't necessarily do them right away. I might check them on my iPhone, I might check them on my iPad, and I might do some of the processing there. But when I really want to do the processing, I like to sit down at the computer and do it. So I like to do that 1 or 2 times a day and just kind of go through the email, because if I don't, it just backs up, because I literally get thousands of emails every year. I mean, it's just crazy how much email that I get. And I know when I first started getting my inbox and my email under control to zero was where I really began on getting my system to black belt, because it was the easiest one to kind of sit there and work on all the time, because it doesn't require a lot of effort. It's just a lot of button clicking and mouse clicking and all that. So if you're stuck and you got a lot of stuff you need to do that's uncollected and your system's a mess, I recommend starting with email, because it is really satisfying, I tell you, to get to this point. And then once you do, it kind of gives you the motivation to get all your other areas in this kind of shape too. And so it's really a great feeling to have it under control like this. I know from time to time it kind of just gets out of control, but because my system's set up in such a way that it's easy to kind of get under control, it's not that big a deal to do that. So first of all, black belt inbox is one that the inbox is empty to zero every single day, and at least once. On the left here, you see my labels. And so, earlier before I did this video, I had some email in here. I had a couple things from American Express to tell me when the payments were due. So I just updated my calendar with the amounts and the dates that they were due, and then I archive that email. So the first thing I do when something comes in, I just decide whether it's something I need to trash or archive. If it's something I don't really care about, I just trash it. If it's something I don't care if I keep, if I feel like I should keep, I just archive it. If it's something that I get that I don't read, or I trust the source of it and I don't read, then I will unsubscribe from it. If I don't know or don't trust the source, then I'll just trash items like that. But if I know it's a reliable company and I just want to unsubscribe because I don't want the stuff anymore, then I just unsubscribe. So those are the first decisions that I make. Do I trash it? Do I archive it? Do I decide I don't want to ever receive it anymore? So those are the first things that I decide. Next, is something I need to reply to. I can do that right away, then I do. If it's something that it's going to take a little bit more time, then I'll just put it over here in my action label. So I'll just move it over there. Okay, so going through that process, I'll have some calendar items. So I update my calendar. I might have a note or something, and I'll make a note of it. But usually I like to use the email itself as a reminder to do something, just like a piece of paper in a physical inbox. So let's talk about my labels a little bit over here on the left. Obviously, the inbox is self-explanatory. All my sent mail stays in there. Occasionally I'll get a draft or two, but I always clear that out too. I always empty my spam, and once I'm done with everything, I empty my trash with my processing. Then I just empty my trash to get it all cleaned up. Now, the bulk of the labeling system is over here on the left, and these are the ones that are the primary labels that I use. Now, I have all of my email come into here, and I have several email addresses, and I do label those, but I don't put the label here, but it does show up when the email comes through just to tell me where it came to. And so that's just important information to me, because in that way I don't have to actually look at it in the email. I can just look at the label. So I like that part of doing that. So my action label, that's the collection of emails of things that still need to have something done on them. Right now I've got about 20 or 30 action items in that particular label, and I can get that pretty close to 0 too. And that's always a good feeling. If I have anything I need to print, any emails I want to print, then I'll just stick them in here, and then when I'm at a printer, then I'll print them out. And then anything I might want to read or review later, like I got an email today from a blogger that I read, and I didn't have time to read it, so I wanted to put it in there just to remind me that I wanted to read that. And then if I have, sometimes I have a lot of stuff that I want to read, and I just try and do it all at one time. And then for some reason I don't get a chance to read it, then I just kind of purge that after a little while. Reference items would be things like, I might get a username, or it might be a receipt I have to refer to later. Anything that I might need to call up because it's important for the information in it, then I'll just kind of tag it with a reference label. Then there's someday maybe here. I got a thing the other day from some investment company that had some tools that I thought I might like to look into, and that's a project that I might want to start. And so just to remind me that that was there, I put it in my someday maybe label. That way it might be a future project for me. Now here, one of my favorite things about my email is I have a tickler file, and I don't use the 30 folders or the 43 folders where you have January, February, March and all that, and 30 days for the month, and just keep every physical thing. Instead, what I do, and I have a video on this if you want to look at it, it's an older video on my channel, that I just create a calendar item for that. So let's say I need to remember to do something on a certain day, then I'll just put it on the day, and then I have an email that reminds me a couple days ahead of time. And then I have a filter set up so that when it comes in, it shows me as a tickler file item with a label right in the inbox. I don't bypass the inbox, but it's also labeled so that it's in there as well. And the nice thing about that is that I noticed that in my system, occasionally I'd have some leakage on items that I would still need to do on my calendar, but because the day passed, I don't remember to look back at those calendar days. But if I got an email for all the tasks that had to be done on those days, this is kind of a backup system, and then I just kind of make sure I clear those tickler items out to make sure that I did indeed do them. And so I really like to do my tickler file that way. Now, if there's a hard piece of paper that goes along with that tickler file, then what I'll do is stick that piece of paper in my waiting for folder, so that maybe it's confirmations, tickets, or something along those lines. I'll just throw it in my waiting for folder, put it on the calendar, and then get an email. And then when I do my daily review, I look at my calendar too. So, but the tickler file serves as a backup to that. And then these other items down here are voicemails. So I get my voicemails from Google Voice. Now I don't do my mobile phone through Google Voice. These are just standalone numbers that I give out to the public so that I don't get bombarded by telemarketing calls and stuff like that. So these are public numbers that I give out, and then I have a private line that I give to clients and people that I need to actually connect with. But if I have just a survey or something and they want a phone number, then I use Google Voice for that. And so, people call those numbers, and I need to keep up on the messages. And so it does come, it doesn't bypass my inbox. It goes right into my inbox, but it also is tagged with which phone number it came from. That way I know what to do with it when I see it at a glance. And then finally, I got a waiting for folder there. So, that might be an email confirmation, like I was talking about a minute ago. Maybe I've got an email that says that, like I know I have one thing in there. I canceled some virus software that had been automatically renewed. I contacted the company and they said, hey, we'll take care of it. And then, but it doesn't happen right away. So what I did is I took the email that told me about the auto renewal and I stuck it in waiting for. And then when I review the waiting for folder, then that's when I know to remember to check to make sure that I did indeed get a credit for that. So anyway, I put a lot of thought into this system. I have some other labels too, but these are the primary ones that I go through, and it's really a great feeling to have everything under control in your email. It's a good place to start if your system is just a total mess, because it's easy just to sit there without a lot of movement and just make these quick decisions. Now, what I'm thinking about doing is maybe making a series of how to set up all this stuff, like filters and how to get all your email in here from various email addresses. And then I know there are people that use Outlook and other types of email setups. I personally use Google Apps myself. I have my own domain names, and then they come to all of this one inbox. So I've got it all set up behind the scenes, and I thought maybe I'd do a series on how to set all that stuff up. If you're interested, let me know in the comments what you're having trouble with. But if you use Outlook or some other system, you can still use a folder set up like this. If you don't have your email set up in a web-based kind of way, I highly recommend it, because then that wherever you are in the world, like I know that wherever I am in the world, if I need to check my email, it's right here and I can log in and check it. Where before, a long time ago, all the email was on my computer, and if I didn't have my computer, then I didn't have my email. So I strongly recommend a web-based format. And the other thing that I recommend is to get like a Google account or a Yahoo account or something like that will always be your email address forever, and not to use your, if you have a cable company like Comcast and you get an email there and you give that email out to everybody, and then later you choose not to use Comcast anymore and you go over to another company, well, then you got everything going to Comcast. You can't get it out of there. So I always have everything forwarded into the emails that I actually use. So anyway, I hope this helps you kind of see what a black belt level email system looks like when it's number one at 0, and number 2 kind of my labeling system and how that's set up. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, be sure and subscribe. And if you have any questions, put them down there in the comments and I'll be sure and answer those for you. In the meantime, I am the Virtual Sensei at BlackBeltProject.com, and let's master our lives one belt at a time.